හරිම සුමුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9 this Friday, the 5th of January 2024. Lucky 13. President urges the public to utilize power granted via the 13th Amendment for economic development.
If you look at all these 13th Amendment, there's enough power to run your own strong economy.
Power price. Necessary data for reducing electricity bills have been submitted to the PUCSL, reveals State Minister of Power and Energy. Easy tins. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya intimates taxpayer identification numbers issuance via divisional secretariats. Drugs iced. Navy and Police Narcotics Bureau-led joint operation in the South Seas seizes over 245 kilograms of narcotics. 6 suspects arrested.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දිනූ සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
නියම මෝල්ට් සාරය සමග මැලිබන් මෝල්ට් දැන් රුපියල් 750ක් පමණයි.
This is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and a warm welcome to you to AdaDerana's today's edition of AdaDerana's English News First at 9. This is Jonathan Benedict. Happy Friday. Let's start with our top stories for the evening, starting with one. President Ranil Wickremesinghe urged the provinces of Sri Lanka to utilize the powers granted via the 13th Amendment for economic development, highlighting that devolution should not merely be a political concept but an economic reality. He went on to state that the provisions of the 13th Amendment have ample authority to establish a robust local economy with a pledge to not intervene in such related affairs. The President stressed that the public exploit the initiative of establishing a robust local economy as opposed to seeking assistance via funding from Colombo.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe graced a dinner gathering with professionals from various sectors in attendance in Jaffna yesterday.
We are no longer going to have a national economy focused on the western province and in Colombo. That's not going to work. Look, we have so many areas with lot of potential. They should all have their own regional economies. South can have one as we are starting now. Central province can have one initially with all its export, agriculture and tourism and others. North can have one. It has one of the biggest potentials. And northwestern province, we feel initially those provinces can grow up just as much as western province with Sabaragamuwa, East, Uwa and North Central coming later. But North Central has the potential which Jaffna also has. So let us now develop. The enough power we have devolved. If you look at all these 13th Amendment, there's enough power to run your own strong economy. We won't interfere in that. Now I'm saying go and do it instead of looking to take all the money from Colombo. Look at Japan. It's not a federal state, but look at how all the different departments and regions are developed. It's well developed. Look at Korea. Look at UK. Why can't we have our own economies that are functioning? So with this devolution, we use the powers and let them all develop. We talk of devolution as political. You can give all the powers by law. You haven't got a cent to spend. What are you worth? If you haven't got a cent to spend, what is the meaning of devolution? You can go out on roads, you can shout on everything. The only province that can spend its way out is the western province today. All the others are tied to the western province. Why should you be tied? If you look at the 13th Amendment, there are enough powers. Just use it. And that is my policy. Because the government can't plan. Don't even ask me to do things through the government to develop agriculture to government. Now you want to have a foreign language school. Why should I spend? If there's a demand for it, you can easily set it up. And if one, we will give loans and other grants to students who can't afford it. I don't think the government should even start a foreign language school, whether in Jaffna or Galle or anywhere. If there's a demand, they will do it. That's how education is run in all parts of the world. I can only do is to bring the economic conditions and also to create an environment in which people will go out and take the risk and develop agriculture or education, whether in this part of the country or other part of the country. That's what we have to do. Someone has to take a risk and then you go out. So we'll drive the environment, we'll give you all that and give you the best possible chance to succeed.
In other news, State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya says the government is exploring the process of opening more tax files in the country by empowering divisional secretariat officers to issue taxpayer identification numbers to the public. Speaking to the media, the state finance minister said that the program will be executed soon after discussions on Monday. To obtain a taxpayer identification number, which is mandatory for any individual above the age of 18, the Inland Revenue Department has introduced two options, which are registering online through the department website or via post, or by visiting the Inland Revenue Department. Any person who is willing to register as a taxpayer online can visit the department website www.ird.gov.lk and click e-services and then access the e-services tab. In the Access to e-services tab, there is the option Click on Taxpayer Registration, and upon clicking on it, the application has to select the category and then fill out the application form and submit it. Subsequently, a certificate containing a taxpayer identification number and a one-time PIN will be mailed to the email address given within 5 working days. The IRD stated that a PDF of the National Identity Card with scanned copies of both sides should be uploaded for registration through e-service. If the address specified on the NIC has been changed, a copy of an acceptable document should be uploaded. To register via post or by visiting the Inland Revenue Department, meanwhile, the department states that the application form for registration has to be filled out and handed over to the primary registration unit of the second floor of the IRD head office or any nearest regional or metropolitan office. The IRD stated that the application for registration may be downloaded from the website. In order to make the process easier, meanwhile, the government is now looking at options such as allowing local government offices to issue taxpayer identification numbers.
දැන් ඕනම වෙලාවක දේශීය ආදම්බ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ වෙබ් අඩවියට ගිහිල්ලා තමන්ගේ ජාතික හැඳුනුම්පත් අංකය ඒකට යොමු කිරීම තුළින් ටින් අංකයක් නැත්නම් බදු ව්‍යාපන අංකයක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක දැන් වඩාත් පහසු කරන්න ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම් කාර්යාලයට ගිහිල්ලා මේ ටින් අංකයෙන් ලබා දෙන්න. එහෙම වැඩ පිළිවෙලකුත් තියෙනවා අපි සමුදායික සාකච්ඡාව කරලා ඉතා ඉක්මනින් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම බදු ගෙවීමේ බරක් ඔහුට පැටවෙන්නේ නැහැ. බොහෝ අය බයයිනේ මේකට. ආදායම් බද්දක් ගෙවන්න වෙන්නේ මාසේ ආදායම සුද්ධ ආදායම රුපියල් ලක්ෂයට වඩා වැඩි කෙනෙක්ට විතරයි බද්දක් ගෙවන්න වෙන්නේ.
Over 245 kilograms of narcotics were seized by the Sri Lankan Navy during a joint operation that was conducted in the southern seas yesterday. 189 kilograms of the seized narcotics was crystal methamphetamine, or popularly known as by its street name ICE, which is said to be the largest stash that was seized in a search operation at sea and brought ashore. Investigations are currently underway to identify the owners of heroin stash, with the 6 suspects arrested during the operation currently under the custody of the Police Narcotics Bureau. Last evening, a special operation was launched by the Sri Lankan Navy in the southern seas in coordination with the Police Narcotics Bureau and intelligence agencies to nab suspects involved in drug smuggling under the guise of fishing activity. During the operation, the Navy conducted a search on a suspicious trawler that was located in the seas about 28 nautical miles or 50 kilometers west of Hikkaduwa. Upon search, the Navy discovered over 189 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine, known as ICE, stuffed in 130 parcels, and around 55 kilograms of heroin stuffed in 48 packages. The street value of the seized drugs is believed to be over 3.1 billion rupees. Further, this is said to be the largest stash of ICE that was seized in a search operation at sea and brought to the island. In addition to the narcotics, the Navy took 6 Sri Lankans aboard the fishing trawler into their custody. The suspects, aged between 28 and 66 years, are residents of the areas of Gaul, Beruwala and Galgamore. This morning, the stock of narcotics and the suspects were brought to Gaul Harbour and handed over to the Police Narcotics Bureau for legal action. During the interrogations, the suspects said that they had not met each other earlier and that they had met based on instructions given by a person who played the role of a coordinator. They also said that they were not engaging in any fishing activity in the seas and were solely involved in transporting the stock of heroin to the island. The suspects also revealed that instructions on what needs to be done during the seize were communicated to them via WhatsApp. They added that the stash of narcotics was handed over to them by a group of people who came in a foreign vessel. According to defense officials, the owner or owners of this stash of narcotics are yet to be uncovered. Commander of the Sri Lankan Navy, Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira, who arrived at the Gaul Harbour, inspected the narcotics stash. On the topic of drugs, during the course of today's Yukthia Special Police Operation, the police, together with the Criminal Investigation Department, was able to make 1,184 arrests, which includes 93 listed criminals of the Police Narcotics Bureau. On the 19th successive day of the Yukthia Special Operation, the police focused their attention on transportation buses and were able to apprehend a suspect in possession of 1 kilogram of cannabis.
The Yukthia Special Police Operation, carried out to curb the island-wide distribution of narcotics, continued today for a 19th successive day. Accordingly, police inspections were focused on transport buses during the course of today's operation. During an inspection carried out in Devata, Gaul, the police were able to identify a passenger in a Ceylon Transport Board bus with nearly 1 kilogram of cannabis in possession. The suspect was identified while he was travelling in a bus travelling from Kataragama to Colombo. The passenger, who was on his way to Mount Lavinia, was arrested by the Gaul police. Meanwhile, a suspect in possession of 5 grams and 80 milligrams of heroin was arrested during a search operation conducted at a house in the Yatyantara police area. The suspect, who had concealed himself in the ceiling of the residence at the time of the inspection, had fallen through the ceiling. Further, a cache of documents including 12 bank books and 59 checks were taken into police custody. Concurrently, a suspect was arrested with 5 grams and 450 milligrams of heroin in possession during an inspection carried out in Walpola. The arrestee was revealed to be a subordinate of an underworld crime gang member under the alias Heenatiyana Mahesh. The police seized 1 lorry, 2 motorcycles, 7,000 rupees and 2 mobile phones during the raid. During an operation carried out by the North Division of the Criminal Investigation Division of Colombo, a suspect in possession of a small locally made firearm with 2 rounds of ammunition and 15 grams and 18 milligrams of heroin was arrested. In other news, a T-56 firearm, 4 magazines and 18 9mm live bullets were discovered at an office of a cricket coach of a renowned school in Wattala. It was later revealed that the said items in question are believed to be possessions of an individual under the alias Ganemulla Sanjeeva. The cricket coach of the aforementioned school was taken into police custody. Subsequently, a total of 1,184 suspects have been arrested over drug-related crimes by the Sri Lanka police together with the Police Special Task Force during the past 24 hours through the Yuktiya Special Police Operation. In the meantime, 59 suspects are being subjected to investigations on detention orders. Arrestees during the course of today's Yuktiya operation include 93 criminals listed by the Police Narcotics Bureau.
Employees of the CEB continued their strike launched on Wednesday against the proposed bill to restructure the Ceylon Electricity Board for a 3rd consecutive day today. Chief Secretary of the Ceylon Electricity Workers Union, Ranjan Jayalal, reiterated that the CEB employees will not accept this proposed bill to restructure the entity.
The Ceylon Electricity Workers Union launched a 3-day strike action against the proposed bill for the restructuring of the Ceylon Electricity Board on Wednesday, which continued for a 3rd straight day today. Employees of the CEB gathered in front of the main office of the Ceylon Electricity Board today for a final day. Trade union leaders engaged in a rally thereafter. Protesters set fire to a copy of the proposed bill to restructure the entity.
අපි මේ විරුද්ධ වෙන්නේ මේ විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය විකුණන් කන කාන්තනගේ පාඩකට විරුද්ධ වෙන්නේ මේ ඔය කැටුම්පත අපි පිළිගන්නේ නැහැ කාන්තයට කියනවා මේ තියෙන්නේ උඹේ පනත මේක අද අපි ගිනි තියනවා මෙතන.
On the topic of electricity, some good news. State Minister of Power and Energy Indika Anuruddha Herats revealed today that the necessary data for reducing electricity bills have been submitted to the Public Utilities Commission. Addressing a media briefing organised by the President's Media Centre today, the State Minister of Power pledged that necessary steps will be taken to introduce the electricity tariff within this month. Meanwhile, highlighting the strike launched by the trade unions against the restructuring of CEB as unsuccessful, the minister said that trade unions were the first to be briefed on the new structure of the CEB that was publicised via the new Sri Lanka electricity draft bill.
මේ වෙද්දිත් මහජන උපයෝගිතා කොමිසමට ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා විදුලි බිල අඩු කිරීම සඳහා සංශෝධනය කිරීම සඳහා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය අපේ තියෙන දත්ත තොරතුරු මහජන උපයෝගිතා කොමිසමට මේ වෙද්දි ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා ඒකත් අපි මේ මාසයේ ඇතුළත ලබන මාසයේ ආරම්භයට කලින් විදුලි බිල අඩු කිරීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය මූලික වැඩ කටයුතු කරනවා
විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ ප්‍රතිව්‍යුහගත කිරීමේ ක්‍රියාවලියන් සිද්ධ වෙනවා කියලා දිගින් දිගටම කැබිනට් අමාත්‍යවරයා පැහැදිලි කිරීම කළා මේකට විරුද්ධව මේ වෙනකොට අඛණ්ඩ විරෝධතාවයක් ක්‍රියාමාර්ග අරගෙන තියෙන වෘත්තීය සමිතිය මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබතුමාගේ අදහස කොහොමද?
විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය සේවකයෝ 25000කට ආසන්න 20000කට වැඩි සේවකෝ මණ්ඩලයක් ඉංජිනේරු මහතුරුන්ගෙන් සමන්විත කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයක් කටයුතු කරනවා. අපි ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා අතිබහුතරේ මේ 4500ක් කොළඹට ආවා කියලා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයේ සේවකයෝ ඒ කටයුතු කරලා නැහැ. මේගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ මේ ප්‍රතිව්‍යුහගත කරන සැලැස්මේ තියෙන ගැටලු. හැබැයි අපි මූලික සාකච්ඡා ආරම්භ කළේ වෘත්තීය සමිති සහ මේ සේවක මණ්ඩල එහෙම නැත්නම් ඉංජිනේරු මහතුරු මේ සියලු දෙනා. ඒ වෙලාවේ අපි මේකේ සැලැස්ම ඒගොල්ලොත් එක්ක කතා කරා. දැන් විදුලි බල පනත මේ කටයුතු දැන් ප්‍රසිද්ධ වෙලා ඉවරයි. එතකොට මේ ප්‍රසිද්ධ වෙන්න කලින් මේකේ ව්‍යුහය මොකක්ද කියන එක අපි මේ සියලු කණ්ඩායම් එක්ක පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රීවරු එක්ක පක්ෂ විපක්ෂ ભેදයකින් තොරව මහජන නියෝජිතයෝ එක්ක ඒ වගේම විද්වතුන් එක්ක මේ ශාස්ත්‍රීය නියැලෙන්නන් එක්ක මේ ගොඩක් අය එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරලා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අදහස් තාමත් ගනිමින් පවතිනවා. ඊයේ පෙරේද දවසෙත් මං හිතන්නේ ඉංජිනේරු සංගමේ විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය නියෝජනය කරන පෙරේද දවසේ තමයි මේ යෝජනාවලිය අපිට ලැබුණේ. එතකොට යෝජනාවලියක් මේ පැත්තෙන් එවන ගමන් ඒ යෝජනාවලියට අපි ගන්න තීන්දුව මොකක්ද කියලා කතා කරන්නේ නැතුව විරෝධතාවයට. ඒ නිසා අසාර්ථක විරෝධතා ව්‍යාපාරයක්.
Welcome back. Kicking off business news with some good news, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has reported an increase of 23.2% in Sri Lanka's official reserve foreign exchange assets from November 2023 to December 2023. Accordingly, Sri Lanka's official reserve assets increased to $4.4 billion in December 2023 from $3.57 billion in November of 2023. The central bank stated that this includes a swap facility with People's Bank of China, which is equivalent to approximately $1.4 billion subject to conditions on usability. Continuing the good news for the year, the Colombo Stock Exchange shares closed higher on Friday today for a fourth successive day to kick off a winning start to the new year, aided by gains in industrials and consumer staple stocks. The CSE All-Share Index closed 0.20% higher at 10,761.61 points for the week. For the week, it rose 1%, marking the second consecutive week of gains, with the S&P SL20 gaining 0.9% for the week. Sri Lanka's official foreign exchange reserve assets were at $4.4 billion in December, up from $3.58 billion in November, per data from the central bank. Expo Lanka Holdings and Cargill Ceylon were the top gainers on the index, rising 1.8% and 3% respectively. Trading volume on the index fell to 32.4 million shares from 43.8 million shares in the previous session. However, equity market turnover rose to 703.7 million rupees from 627.3 million rupees in the previous session. Foreign investors offloaded stocks worth 124.7 million rupees, while domestic investors were net buyers purchasing shares worth 656.6 million rupees. With that, let's take a look at how the rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. Cinnamon Air, which was established in 2013, marked a decade of unwavering commitment to excellence and innovation in the aviation industry. Meanwhile, the DFCC Bank secured the prestigious award for Best Banking Process at the Global Banking and Finance Review for its implementation of electronic Know Yourself, Know Your Customer or KYC technology. With that, let's take a look at corporate news for the day.
Cinnamon Air, Sri Lanka's premier domestic airline, marked a decade of unwavering commitment to excellence and innovation in the aviation industry recently. Director of Saffron Air Private Limited, which owns Cinnamon Air, Bernard Gunadilaka, said that over the past decade, they have become a key player in Sri Lanka's tourism landscape, enhancing the nation's image as a high-end tourist destination. Chief Executive Officer of Cinnamon Air, Sean Dwight, says, while they have served over 80,000 passengers, including numerous high-profile clients, through scheduled and charter flights since the beginning of their service, they have achieved several notable milestones. Meanwhile, TSR Technologies Private Limited, which bears 27 years of experience in the printing industry's engineering field, was honored as the best service provider in Asia at the Asian Awards 2023 held in India for introducing a guarantee for the head of EcoSolvent digital printers. Further, this is company managing director Dr. Roshan Rajapaksa's second international award. In other news, DFCC Bank has recently secured the prestigious award for Best Banking Process at the Global Banking and Finance Review for its implementation of electronic Know Your Customer technology. This award underscores the bank's unwavering commitment to digital innovation, security and operational efficiency, particularly in eKYC. This sets the stage for seamless and secure 100% digital customer onboarding, removing the need for physical branch visits and enabling superior digital enablement and service delivery.
That's all the news I have for you for now. Have a blessed and safe weekend. This is Jonathan Benedict wishing you a good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.